Hello everyone, CSWort here, and in front of me I have a Shulker Box Cycler that's able to hold up to 56 Shulker boxes while keeping them in order. So, it's using the same concept as my hopper clock from yesterday, where a T flip-flop will change state only when we completely run out of items in the top, and when we completely run out of items in the bottom. And so, because we're using a single hopper, my bad, we will only draw the first item from the slot here, and when we replenish the chest, it will also only put them in the first slot and go in order. So that allows us to keep things in the same order without having too much problem. Now this is a 3-wide design. It's pretty simple to build, so I'll go ahead and do a tutorial real quick. I'll need a chest, dropper, hopper, and dispenser here. And we'll start off with a 3-wide hole, and I'll have a double chest here, a hopper going into it. 2 blocks up, I'll place my dispenser, and then I'll put a dropper or a hopper going into it. Now underneath the chest on this side, I'll place a 4 tall dispenser elevator or dropper elevator and a hopper going into the bottom one. Now up top, all I need is a double chest, and that's it for the hoppers, droppers, and all that stuff. Now for regular blocks, I'm going to first wall up the shulker box itself, and I'm going to go 1 block up higher on this side just so I can place my piston upside down. Now we need a note block into an observer, solid block there, there, and there, a repeater there at the second delay, dust there, and the repeater at the second delay is to make sure we unpower this torch, which is locking this hopper here, and it will then activate this dispenser at a slightly later delay. Now let's go ahead and build a RT flip-flop. So our output is going to be a comparator right here going into a solid block with dust there and another solid block there, and now I need a sticky piston there, and 1, 2, 3 blocks out there, another sticky piston facing the other way, and I'll place the block of redstone in right now. Now to take the output from the bottom chest here, I'm going to place a solid block next to the hopper there, and I'm going to use 2 comparators here just as a failsafe in case one of them doesn't want to actually update, because it did happen to me before. I was so confused why, but if you don't want to have that issue, then just don't bother putting that comparator in. So once we get the target block here, we'll put a torch on top, another block, torch on top of that, and you can make glass here. It doesn't matter what block the glass ones are. And we can put a repeater here at any delay. Feel free to change it if you want. Now our 2 outputs. The first one is going to be for the failsafe. First, we have a note block, observer looking at it, observer to the side, and then a solid block here, followed by a sticky piston. And so now when the user tries to hit the button while we are running the elevator, nothing will happen because the block will have been retracted. Now we need to set up our item elevator, and so I'm going to first put a block underneath this side of the T flip-flop, dust, torch, and we will place a sticky piston right here with an observer facing that way, and then another observer facing that way, and we need to go down underneath of it to point 1 down and put a solid block there. Now we need another solid block here, and we can break that glass, dust, and a repeater at the full delay. That way, so whenever there's a shulker box sitting there and it gets broken at the end, it won't mess up the cycle. And yeah, that's actually it for the whole design. I'll actually go ahead and demonstrate this in action before going over to the Bedrock version. 2, 3, 4, 5. So our order should be regular, and the first one always primes the system to put one in the item hopper here. So regular, white, orange, magenta, and since we ran out, we should be changing it up. Regular, white, orange, magenta, and blue. So yeah, perfect design. Obviously, you could keep expanding this to make a even larger storage system than just 54 or 56. So yeah, let's go over to the Bedrock edition. Alright, so to make this work in the Bedrock edition, we have to make a few changes first. For starters, observers don't detect when you right-click on a note block, so I'm just going to change that out for a fence gate. Also, we can change this repeater to no delay, since we don't need that for a torch to detect an observer pulse on Bedrock, because it's not zero ticking. And as on top of that, because we're not zero ticking, this piston will not zero tick and leave the block forward, so we have to change this up. And what I'll do is I'll put a sticky piston that way, slime block, and block of redstone. Now when the T flip-flop changes state, this one will retract, and so will the failsafe piston. Now, I could add a block right here so that this would work in the Java edition, but that would technically make this 4 blocks wide, and so I chose not to do that. Now, Our current order in the system is regular, white, light gray, gray, black, RGB. So let's go ahead and run it and see if we can get that showcase effect of what I'm hoping for. Okay, so our first problem is we had one land in the front. Okay, simple fix. We just put another hopper there. And I'll go ahead and put this back in the right order. And now maybe time lapse as I try and get the hopper fail that I'm looking for. Okay, well, here's one of them. For starters, this one flew out even further than the other one, so I'll just go ahead and throw that back in. Actually, no, because it missed, it should actually be up here right now. Alright, so let's keep going and see if we can make this even worse. Okay, sure, yeah. This is where it's supposed to land. Oh, there it is, finally. So, at any random point in time, because, as you clearly could see, the Shulker Box is flying from who knows where, and then they choose their final landing position, this one decided to come in from the back at a certain angle, and so it's technically sitting right here on this corner, phased into this block. And even when a Shulker Box gets broken and destroyed, it does not elevate itself up like in the Java edition, and it doesn't try and force itself out to either side. So it's literally just stuck there, and the only way to fix this is if the player comes and picks it up and places it back in the system. So aside from that, and because the shulker boxes break and fall at a random speed, and that messes up the order as well, because of all those issues and clear and obvious bugs, I'm going to have to say that this is currently not viable in the Bedrock edition. Although it does work and it is fairly hard to break, sadly, that's not going to cut it for me. But that's all I have for today, and thanks for watching. Goodbye. Alright, so finally it happened. After probably about 30 minutes or so, I finally got one to pop out the other side, or fly in from this side, hit this wall or something, and landed right there. So yeah, it seemed like adding this wall did solve that issue, but this is still an issue that I had yet to show. So goodbye for real this time.